What's up, guys and girls and all the Spartans from around the world? Welcome to another video, and I'm happy to say that this is going to be a God of War theory video. In this video, we're going to talk about this mysterious symbol that showed up yesterday. I'm going to talk about what it means, what it symbolizes, and how it connects to Kratos. And before we begin, I just want to say I am so happy to be making a God of War theory. It's been a really long time, and I'm happy to be getting right into it. Here is the answer to the last trivia question. I'm starting to really mess with you all, and the people who usually get it right are starting to get these wrong, so I'm very happy that these are getting harder. This video trivia question is, in a non-canon appearance, Kratos entered a fighting tournament. After winning that tournament, two gods approached him, bowing to him and praising him. Which video game was this appearance in? Type your answers now, and at the end of the video I will give you the correct answer, and if you get it right, you have a chance in being in the next God of War video. Make sure to check the pinned comment if you want to enter a God of War Discord and talk to God of War fans just like you. Hit the like button and let's get right into it. So I want to start this off by saying that this is a bear symbol that is on the compass. The compass played a huge role story-wise in God of War 2018. In God of War 2018, the compass showed Faye's handprint. This told you where to go throughout the game. We learned at the end of that game that all the yellow markers throughout the game was made by Faye, which was Kratos' wife, who marked the path for us to walk. This is why the compass had her handprint as she laid out the entire journey for us. However, in God of War Ragnarok, it's a bear's paw. I want to talk about this really quickly. First, I tried to figure out who this paw could be representing. It has to be representing somebody because this symbol is so obvious. After talking to some people in my God of War Discord, people were saying that it has to relate to Kratos. So then I went on a rampage. I went through several pieces of lore. I tried to figure out any moment where Kratos was referenced as a bear. I went to a bunch of people and nobody knew, but finally my savior came. I want to thank God of War Geek for actually telling me where it's actually from. Kratos is referenced as a bear on the back of the God of War Steelbook. But the question is why? Why is Kratos represented as a bear? Since this was on the back of a steelbook, and I'll tell you the translation in a second, there has to be a reason why the developers wanted Kratos to be a bear type symbol. And ladies and gentlemen, I think I've actually figured out the canon reason in the game's lore, not from developers or where they were coming from. The developers actually put a reason why Kratos would be represented as a bear. And I will get into that in a second, but first I want to read you the translation in the back of the steel book. The translation goes as follows, and once again, thank you to God of War Geek for providing this. This is the story of a bear and a wolf who wandered the 9 realms to fulfill a promise of one before. They walked the twilight path, destined to discover the truth that is to come. According to this translation, Kratos is the bear and Atreus is the wolf, and they go around to spread Faye's ashes on the highest peak of all the realms. So of course the question is, why did the developers decide to symbolize Kratos as a bear? I looked through the traditional mythology, tried to find any connection between our character Kratos and a bear, and it turns out there aren't a lot of symbolism for bears in Norse mythology. There are very little, if not any, and I found a bunch of users actually posting this, which of course made me think, why, if bears are not important in the traditional mythology and kind of not really existent in a way, then why is Kratos represented as a bear? And it turns out there is actually a canon reason within God of War's universe. And the answer is in God of War 2018's prequel comic, Book 3. For context, God of War's story in the prequel comics was basically these men find where Kratos and Atreus are living, and they attack by turning into these bear-like creatures. Kratos' mission throughout this prequel series is to find the invaders' home and destroy them. However, throughout the prequel comics, Kratos is trying to hold back his rage. In Book 3, Kratos meets a seer. This seer knew almost everything about Kratos, and it turns out Faye was actually visiting there frequently. She even goes as far as to call Kratos the God Slayer. However, what is important about this scene is her description of the bear-like enemies. And before we even continue, yes, these are considered bears. If you look at the description of the comic, it does say that these are bears. This is what the seer had to say about the men who can transform into bears. She says, "The berserkers draw their strength and power from animal spirits, which they have enshrined in a totem which they worshipped as a god. They pray to their self-made god to strengthen the arm and stiffen the sinew, pledging blood and fealty in return. The berserker's rage fuels his faith, and if he should be found worthy, his body is twisted into a physical manifestation of his anger, and so the berserkers derive great strength from their fury. Their numbers dwindle with each passing generation, and I have seen in the flames that they will soon be gone from the face of the earth." So it turns out that these men who can transform into bears get their power from a totem that they worship as a god, has an appearance as a bear. The berserkers receive its power by turning their faith into rage itself, and if found worthy, their bodies are turned into the physical manifestation of anger. Does this sound familiar to anybody? This is fucking Kratos. This bear totem that makes people transform into bears by consuming that person with rage and anger, which is something that Kratos is, of course, known for. He's known for that rage, that never-ending fire that will never burn out. I made a video on the topic of Kratos' rage and how Cory Barlog explained it, and Kratos' rage will actually never burn out. It will always be there. He's kind of like the Hulk. He's always raging, even though he's taking steps to try and control it. The Blades of Chaos and lore also make Kratos always angry. So although bears don't really have a lot of symbolism in Norse mythology, in the God of War universe, there is symbolism with the bear, and they represent the physical manifestation of anger. So I think that this is more reason why the developers reference Kratos as a bear, and we all know why Atreus is represented as a wolf in the back of the steel case, and this could also be the reason why Kratos gets a bear symbol in the God of War Ragnarok gameplay that was just shown. I hope I'm making sense here, and I hope you enjoyed this video. I gotta say, I'm so happy to be making theories again. Like, whether you agree or you disagree, this type of content I used to do a lot, and I've kind of taken a step back because, you know, we haven't really been getting too much of anything. But now that we actually received this one little bit of detail, I can actually make a theory about it, which is so fucking cool. I love researching this stuff for you all. Anyways, the answer to the trivia question is Mortal Kombat 9. At the end of Mortal Kombat 9, if you beat arcade mode in Shao Kahn with Kratos, Kratos is actually approached by Raiden and Fujin, in which Kratos says to himself that he might actually use them a little bit later. Obviously, his reasoning in this appearance is he's going to use Raiden and Fujin to attack Zeus. Really cool stuff. But let me know what you all think about my God of War theory. I'm going to be out of here. Thank you guys and girls for listening. Deuces.